Welcome to lesson 7. We are going to be continuing with surface area and volume of 3D shapes, but today we are going to be focusing more on the triangular prism, but I'm also going to introduce the trapezoidal prism as well. So let's start. We want to generalize the volume of a prism. And the volume of actually any prism, we did a rectangular one yesterday, it's the area of the base multiplied by the height of the prism. So we can actually write that the volume of a prism is, I'm going to use a big B to represent the area of the base multiplied by height, and this is the distance between both bases. Now, I'm going to show you an example. So here's to prove this to you. Right now, the green of this triangular prism, so it's a prism where the bases are triangles, is just at the bottom. But as I change the height, the same triangle just goes higher and higher and higher and higher. So it's just a stacking of the same triangle over and over again. That's why we take the area of that triangle and multiply it by how many times it goes up. I'm going to show you with a cylinder now. Here's a cylinder. As we see, the blue at the bottom is my circle. And as I increase the height, the same circle just keeps on appearing, going higher and higher and higher. So it's the area of the circle multiplied by the distance between the two circles, the two bases. That's how we find the volume of any prism. So we're going to start and we're going to find the volume of the following triangular prisms. Now, the first one is triangular because the bases are triangles, and the second one is a trapezoidal prism because the bases are trapezoids. So I have the review of here of the area formula for both a triangle and a trapezoid. So let's start with the first one. Now, again, it's the area equals the area of the base times the height. Now, this component right here changes based on the shape we're dealing with. In this case, we have a triangle, and so therefore the area of a triangle is base times height. Now, with the triangle, it's important to grab the important information. Here's my height of my triangle, and the height is what's attached to the base. So this is my base, which matches 12 feet. So the area of the triangle is 12 times 4.1, which is my height, all divided by 2, which is 24.6. The height between the two bases, that's right here. It's the part that touches one base and the other. So therefore, oh, I wrote area there. I should have written volume. The volume is 24.6 multiplied by 6. So the idea is that triangle just keeps repeating that many times. And we end up getting 147.6 feet cubed, because volume is units cubed, as we saw yesterday. Now, if we take a look at the trapezoid, again, we want to find the area of the trapezoid. And so that's base 1 times base 2, which is this measurement right here, which is the same as the 6, So 3 plus 6 times the height of the trapezoid, which is 3.7, all divided by 2. And when we do this, we end up getting a 9 times 3.7 divided by 2. So we get 16.65 meters squared. Now the height between the bases is right here. Here is the line that touches the two bases, so it's 4 meters. So the volume is equivalent to 16.65 multiplied by 4, which gives us 66.6 meters cubed. So there is the volume of our trapezoids. Make sure that you have both of these examples written in your notebook. Now that we have volume, let's take a look at surface area. Now, just like yesterday, there were 2 resources. There are 2 more resources that are posted on the assignment sheet: the net and surface area of a triangular prism and a net and surface area of a trapezoidal prism. Just like a rectangular prism, surface area is adding up the area of each individual side. So for a triangle, there are 5 sides to add up. And let's see what they are. We have 3 rectangles and 2 triangles. You find the individual areas and you add them up. So when I see work, I should see the 5. You might sometimes only calculate 4 because you might realize that the 2 triangles are the same, and you can multiply by 2. Now, a trapezoid. Let's open up the net and see how many sides we have. We have 6 sides. I'm hoping you're starting to realize that for any prism, the bases are whatever shape they are, and every other shape is a rectangle. Now, I'm going to do one example. I'm going to do this one. Now, this is a trapezoidal prism. Now, what we see is I have 2 of the same trapezoids. Now, I'm going to teach you a strategy to stay organized. And so label all of your work. So I'm going to say bases. And I'm putting a 2 to show that this is calculating 2 of my 6 sides. So I'm going to start and say, okay, base 1, that's a 3, base 2, that's a 7, multiplied by the height, which is a 3.5. Now, for a trapezoid, I divide by 2, but I'm also going to multiply by 2 because there are 2 of them. So that just cancels out, leaving me with a 10 times 3.5, so 35 meters squared. Those are my 2 bases. Now I'm going to do some color coding. I'm going to realize that this one right here is actually the same as this one right here. So I'll say, sides 2. Okay, so it is a 4 by 6. So 4 times 6 times 2, because there's 2 of them, and I get 48 meters squared. I'm then going to do the top, which is a 6 by 7 rectangle. So top 6 by 7, so 42 meters squared. And last but not least, I have my bottom, which is a 6 by 3. My bottom, 6 by 3, so that's 18 meters squared. And therefore, my surface area is all of them combined, which is, let's see, 80, 90, 108, 138, 143 meters squared is the surface area. And I know that because of this over here, I have all 6 sides. So stay organized and you won't miss one of the sides. Like yesterday's practice problems, you have 5 practice problems. Get started on this one. Notice I just actually put the time in there. These should take you about 12 minutes. So take your time, show your work. Okay, so I'm not going to go in as much detail on every single one, but for this first one, I will. So I'm going to start by finding the volume. This is where I'm trying to stay very organized. Now the volume, again, is the area of the base. Here is my base. And the right angle is right here. So I find the area of triangle. And it is a 8 times 6 divided by 2, which is therefore 24 meters squared. So therefore the volume is 24 multiplied by the height, the distance between the 2 triangles, which is 3, which gives us 72 meters cubed is the volume. Now I have to go to the surface area. I'm going to say SA for surface area. Now I'm going to say bases times 2. Well, I've already found the area of the triangles. I did it in step 1. So therefore, I'm just going to say 24 times 2 because there's 2 of them. That's 48. Now let's get some more color coding in there. I'm going to do this one, which is a 3 by 10. So 3 by 10, which is 30. Then let's see, let's do this one down here. That's a 3 by 6. This is why I love color pencils. It makes it so clear and easy to see. So that's 18. And last but not least, we have the back one, which is a 3 by 8. So 3 by 8, so that's 24. We then go and add all of this up to get the surface area. And we get that the surface area is 48 plus 30 plus 18 plus 24, 120 meters squared, because again, we're dealing with area. So there's practice 1. Here is practice 2. Make sure you stay organized with your work. Here is the answer to practice 2. Notice I color-coded it in a very similar way. Again, I noticed one of the key factors is to make sure that when you're finding the area of the triangle, you're taking the correct measurements for the base and height. So the height, that 2.7, has to be going from an angle to that side, hence why it's 11. I found that area, then found the volume, the distance between the 2 triangles, which was 11. That was this right here. And then I used those and multiplied it by 2 to get the 29.7. So again, just to see, I knew I had 2 sides from here. I had 1 side from here. I had 1 side from here. I had 1 side from here. In total, I had the 5 sides I needed. I added them up and I got my surface area. Here is a trapezoidal prism. Remember that there's now 6 sides for the surface area. Take your time. Here's the answer to practice 3. I drew a net for this one, which I've been asking you to do as well, but you can see the color coding that matches the net as well. And so I found the volume. I used the area of the base that I found in volume, also in the surface area. Notice that I multiplied it by 2 because I have 2 bases. Just like for this side, I had 2, so instead of finding them separately, I just multiplied it by 2. I have 6 sides in total, which is what I wanted, and I found the surface area. Make sure if you don't understand where I got the side measurements or how to calculate it, you're checking in with me. Like yesterday's lesson as well, I now have the you must create, use the link to help you, a triangular prism that has a volume of 50 centimeters cubed. Take 15 minutes on this. Play around with that and see what you get. Go ahead. So while there are many answers, here's one answer that I created using the system. So I found that the base of the triangle was 4 centimeters. The height of the triangle, which is this, was 5. And the height of the prism was also 5. So therefore, the area of the triangle is 4 by 5 divided by 2, which is 10 centimeters squared. So this is the area of the triangle. So my volume is 10 times 5, which is 50 centimeters cubed. So again, there's many different answers for this. I look forward to seeing the ones that you put in. Now this one is going to be a little bit harder. Determine the dimensions needed for a triangular prism to have a surface area of 80 meters squared. So this one took me some time as well, but so I figured out sorry, I marked something in the wrong place. So I figured out that the area of my triangle is 10, but I have 2 of them. So therefore I have the 10 plus 10 from the bases. And then I have one rectangle, which is a 5 by 5, another rectangle, which is a 3 by 5, and another, which is 4 by 5. I get a 25. I get a 15. I get a 20. And when you add this all up, I get 80 meters squared. This one's a harder one to do. It takes a lot of playing around. As you see, I accidentally labeled it in the wrong place as well. So this is triangular and trapezoidal prisms. We have one more prism that we're going to be looking at, which is the cylinder, which is just a circular prism.